So, without further ado, let's... Professional job. Pop across to there. Bump up the size of the HUD. There we go. As I say, this is my first time casting on Twitch, so we're going to have to see. So, I believe that we are ready to start this game. So, without further ado, let's hop in. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the ESL Go For Company of Heroes 2 Cup number 6. This is going to be the first weekly Cup of February. Our first game for your entertainment today is going to be featuring my fellow co-caster, spawning in the north, playing as the Overcommand West pieces. It's going to be none other than AE. And spawning in the south, playing as United States Forces. It's going to be Easy. Easy, actually not a player I've had the pleasure of casting particularly often before. We're going to have to see what he's going to bring to the table. AE, of course, a fellow caster, and I haven't actually cast any of his games either. So we're going to have to see what he's going to be like out here. If anybody has any feedback about the sound levels or anything like that, please do let me know in the Twitch chat. That would be useful. This is the first game cast today. We did some sound testing earlier, and everything seemed to line up nicely. But if you feel that the sound is off in any way, please do let me know. And let's see, so seemingly both players at the moment committing all their forces to the right-hand side of this map. That, of course, where you'll find 2 of the 3 victory points. So typically the focus of the fighting. AE playing reasonably standard at the moment, going for 2 Volksgrenadiers off the bat. He's also chosen his commander straight away. He's locked in the Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine, who I imagine everybody is pretty familiar with by now. Of course, this commander, ever popular because all of his abilities pretty much are useful, and he does give you access to that all-important machine gun team, without which Overcommand West don't have much in the way of suppression and can just get steamrolled by superior American infantry. We've got some fights being taken here on the right flank. Riflemen trading pretty well, getting some good damage onto these Storm Pioneers, losing a model. They're going to hide behind this line of sight blocker for now. Here comes a second rifle squad, and it seems like Easy's going to commit reasonably heavy into rifles, not doing anything crazy with rear echelons like we see some players do sometimes. Going up to 3 squads of the 5-man American infantry off the bat. Seems like the rear echelons for Easy going to be going across onto the left flank here. And going to start chewing up some ground on that side of the map.
Rifle squad ready for action.
Up to 3 squads of rifles now for Easy, 3 squads of Volks for AE, so a pretty level playing field in terms of the units chosen. Very little opportunity for teching so far, of course. We're only like 2.5 minutes into this game, so not much to comment on there. We've got a second squad of rear echelons coming onto the queue now as these riflemen going to try and get stuck in here. But AE's actually got reasonable positioning with these Volksgrenadiers. They're in good cover. Actually, this squad just too far away from the fight to actually be contributing. So he might just want to move them forwards behind this this wheelbarrow here or something like that. Because right now these rifleman squads are 2v1ing. And here comes the other Volksgrenadier squad here. Nice concave here for AE, actually. Reasonable positioning. This squad here in the open, but they're not really being focused. Okay, now they are. But yeah, this is a good fight for AE. 13 Volksgrenadiers against just 7 Riflemen now. So that's a fight he can take quite nicely. Storm Pioneers here. Looks like they were making a run. They're going to get into this building, and they're not actually going to put any fire out, but they are going to reserve that building. So AE may be able to get an MG34 into that in due course. We'll have to see that, of course. One of the most potent and important buildings on the map. These Volksgrenadiers looks like they're going to pursue forward into the choke, not grabbing this capture point, or indeed any of the capture points behind them. So not going for the fuel, not going for the victory point, nothing like that. AE actually just determined to take the advantage here. He's pushing through with his Volksgrenadiers. This is still a reasonable fight for the German forces, although 2 of his squads now reasonably low, so he's going to have to play it careful here, falling back 1 of them here in good order. Falling back 2 of them, in fact, actually. Getting a Star of Veterancy there. Always nice. On the left-hand side of the map, you can see on the mini-map, I'm going to keep the fighting framed here, but you can see on the mini-map that the American player Easy has actually capped up quite a lot of ground, and that's reflected, or it will be reflected soon, by his superior resource income, I would have thought. He's pretty much unopposed on that side of the map. These Storm Pioneers here just need to move across to the left, I think. They're actually being shot at by riflemen through this archway. They're expensive, pretty elite infantry here, and they can be a liability for Overcommand players. So he's going to need to defend them. An MG34 here, stalking, looking to get into a good position. Going to set up nicely here, and that should cover these riflemen. Easy sees it, though, and he's going to try and get out the arc, and he does in time. Nicely done. He's going to use this line of sight blocker, and the fact that the MG34's arc is just set up like this to sneak on up to the MG. And I think AE might have to think about moving this MG. There we go, and he does, but now the riflemen are all up on top of it. There are luckily 3 Volksgrenadiers here to support, so the MG may be in with a chance of not having to fall back here. It depends. Looks like he's going to fall it all the way back over here. Meanwhile, we've got rear echelons and another MG34 set up in that building a little further back there. So, yeah, looking reasonable so far. MG34 going to deploy facing the right, but that's a touch awkward as we've now got some riflemen coming through. However, the MG34 in this building at the back actually just about had range for an instant. Going to get some suppression down. AE's going to need to move this MG34 squad, though. It's beginning to become overrun with American infantry. These Volksgrenadiers also kind of getting perilously low. And hang on a second, these Volksgrenadiers back at base have not been reinforcing, I've just noticed. So that's a bit of an issue for the British player. Going to fall back the MG34, going to fall back the Volks. Needs to start reinforcing these units. The reinforcements are queued up, but he's kind of moving out just a touch too soon, so they're not actually going to stack on. Seems like AE possibly just a touch flustered and or tired. Actually, truth be told, if I was on Skype to AE just earlier this morning, and he was slightly worn out after yesterday's tournament casts, so possibly feeling that just a little bit here. If we look at the map, we can see the situation here. It's, let's see, 29 fuel income, 47 munition income for Easy, over the 14 and 11 of AE. So the mini-map there pretty much telling the story, mostly blue. Rakettenwerfer now bolstering the forces for AE, pretty standard stuff. He has not built a Schwerer Schlepper, the construction truck. He's not built a single one yet, which is a little awkward, a touch strange. Not often. I mean, usually I would expect to have seen that truck some time ago, and it's not even on the queue actually. So no tech on the horizon for AE. Very unusual. For the American player, of course, we do have the captain on the field. He's just entering now. So he's going to have access to the AA half-track, to the pack howitzer, to the Stuart light tank. He's also building a 3/4-ton ambulance just now. Pretty standard stuff, I imagine. He'll park that in his base and get some healing down in that place. Double MG34 here, actually going to get some work done, forcing back riflemen, Volksgrenadiers rushing forwards. And I suppose the upside of not going for a Schwerer Schlepper is that he hasn't spent the money to buy it. He hasn't spent the money to convert it into a truck, which means that his army right now is actually pretty reasonable, you know. He's up at 46 supply over the 35 for the American player. Pack howitzer, by the way, the unit of choice from the captain tech. So yeah, and he's actually like digging in quite nicely, overlapping fields of fire on the MG34s. Storm Pioneers actually getting defeated by these riflemen who were in the building, so they're going to have to fall back, which is actually unfortunate because that means that these MG34s now have to respond to that, so they're going to have to schlep about the place. Speaking of schlepping, here is that command truck just coming in now, so we'll have to see what the tech of choice for AE is going to be. He has enough fuel for his mechanized reg. In fact, maybe that's why he delayed his truck, because actually he now has enough fuel to turn that into a mechanized reg like straight away, so maybe that's the reason why here. MG34 here getting himself in a great position, going to suppress those rear echelon troops as they try to capture. Volksgrenadiers here also in a decent position. Looks like some sandbags and barbed wire in position there. Sensible stuff from AE. Although, you know, still the problem here is the minimap. Look at the resource differential. 17 and 16 fuel and munitions respectively for AE. 29 and 47 for Easy. So right now there's a gap opening up between the two players in terms of resources, and that gap is of course ever widening with time. So AE's going to have to make a move here. He's also starting to fall behind a little bit in terms of victory points. He's down at 428, under 500 right now. Whoa, that bazooka round just like giving a Volksgrenadier like a torso hit there. It's pretty brutal stuff, and we've got a Stuart coming on out now for the American player. So it looks like the plucky light tank going to be coming out. AE does have this cloaked Rakettenwerfer, and I'm not sure, but I don't think I've heard it taking any shots so far, so possibly the American player doesn't know about that. MG34 here in a decent position, but getting flanked by riflemen here, and AE just kind of becoming overrun. This captain does have a Tommy gun, so he's doing decent damage at this range to these Volksgrenadiers. No fighting at all on the left-hand side of the map, and I'd love to see AE just split off a squad. He's actually lost his Storm Pioneers. Looks like... I can't see the bodies anywhere, actually, but yeah, he has lost his Storm Pioneers, so losing the expensive engineer squad there. Always a setback for the Overcommand player. And I can hear Fallschirmjäger, which means Fallschirmjäger have been deployed. So yep, Fallschirmjäger going to pop out of this building, going to get some pot shots into this rear echelon, probably slightly unlucky not to get a squad wipe there for AE. The Stuart light tank now on the field, looks like we're sporting the good old Somerset rustic camo here. So a nice choice there from Easy, clearly a fashionable general as well as a competent one, it seems. Looks like the Stuart going to commit to the right-hand flank, which totally makes sense because that's where everyone's units are right now, so it's where it will stand the most chance of being effective. The arc on this Rakettenwerfer, clearly AE, here's the Stuart moving in fog of war because he's twitched the Rakettenwerfer straight away, sets it up with a nice arc, biff, getting a good hit onto the plucky light tank there. Of course, it needs 3 hits to kill. Oh, a brutal squad wipe coming down on those Volks Grenadiers. That is super brutal. Man, that Stuart kind of being efficient straight off the bat there. Pack Howitzer are going to start countering this Rakettenwerfer, and things kind of going from bad to worse here for the Overcommand player. Who pretty much the only thing he has going for him right now is that 1 victory point he has control over, which means that right now he's only trailing by 100 victory points. The tech of choice, by the way, was the Mechanized Regiment HQ. As I alluded to earlier, he's deployed that in his base, so we're probably going to have, well, there's the possibility of a Panzer II, but now that there's a Stuart already on the field, you kind of have to feel like the Puma makes a lot of sense right now. So we'll see if that's going to be the choice for AE. So I rotate the camera angle here. Squad of Riflemen here making a run down the right flank, trying to make it to third base, but they are probably going to get deflected by the forces here. MG34, pardon me, MG34 getting set up decently here. And that's going to force a fallback from the supporting rifleman there. Wow, these Volksgrenadiers taking a really nice fight against the rifleman in green cover, not losing a single man for 3 riflemen. It's pretty spicy. Pack Howitzer, though, getting some sick work done on this MG34. Getting a good hit there. That puts it down. It kills 1 model, but the health is dramatically low. AE needs to think about repositioning this one as another shell comes screaming in. It's going to be a miss. The Stuart and some rear echelons taking to the left flank. They might try and poke around here, actually. If they come around here, they could come in from behind the arc of the Rakettenwerfers and things like that. Haha, yeah. Seems like AE is going to choose this moment to surrender. Safe to say that that game not going his way, and that is fair enough. Yep. Hard times there for my fellow British caster, who it's safe to say I was rooting for. I was with him, my heart was with him, but my mind was with Easy, who demonstrating there his pretty impressive capabilities there in terms of generalmanship, his tactics, his positioning, his composition, all seemed pretty reasonable. As I take a sip on my drink, welcome back to the chat, AE.